fitness-wise, have you hopefully escaped the worst of the stomach bug?
Yeah, the stomach bug people are back, which is good news. Glad I didn't get it. Didn't sound very good, the descriptions they gave me. So they're back. That's keeper and the left back, obviously. So they've been added to the squad. I've got Ollie back. He only trained yesterday, but he looked his normal self. Grant's joined in as well, which is great news for him and us. So there's a lot of bodies about, which is good.
Does that mean Grant's available for selection?
No, not this week, no. Too early. But he's getting there.
So there is a chance he might be able to play before the end of the season?
Yes, there is, yeah. Which is good news.
Given this kind of general sort of thoughts and frustrations?
Yeah, it must be so frustrating. Honestly, I chose to give in at 37 because I was a manager. But when your body's stopping you do it, it can be unbelievably frustrating. And then if you finish on that note, it don't feel good for the rest of whatever you've got to do. So, and I don't think football does enough for people who've going to retire or do anything. Do you know what I mean? Definitely mentally they don't. It's a huge fall off, you know. So hopefully he won't get that. He's a clever lad, and comes from good stock. His dad's done a good job with him.
You kind of pressed Billy Kirkman service a little bit of last week, almost against your will. Is he still involved, or can you?
Absolutely, yeah. He's had a week to recover. I'm delighted he managed to do as well as he did. So definitely, he's well in the realms of I can select him with no worries, which is brilliant news. His shoulder's a lot better. It was only falling on that was a problem, and obviously trying to hold people off. And I knew how sore it was. It's nothing like that now. So
we spend a lot of time this part of the season talking about who's going to stay, who's going to go, who can still earn a contract. So I was just wondering on a more general basis during your career, have you had players at this part of the season really kind of come up with something you didn't expect and make them part of your future plans when you thought they were on the way out? Does it happen often?
Yeah, it does, and it's all about the budget, and it's all about where we are in the budget. I'm due to sit down and make sure we finalise exactly where we are with it, and I'm sure I know where it is, but the calculations you work if you add certain bits and pieces and see where you are. In an ideal world, I'd like a blank canvas, but that's not going to be the case. And then it's about what percentage have I got to add to try and build a squad with the numbers that I want, of the quality that I want. And I'm going to have to look at anybody who might be in contract for next year that I might not want. And then I've got to decide, do I tell them with brutal honesty? Do I try and tell their agent to see if I can move them on and see if I can build from there? So we'll be having a big meeting next week to discuss those things. I think I know where I am, but I like to bounce it off of people. So there we go. It's a kaleidoscope of movement. That's what it is. And yes, I have seen people who weren't in have such a brilliant end to the season that they've pushed themselves in to the future. And as I said to the people we were with last night, the sponsors, I couldn't be prouder of the group, honestly. I probably could be if we were higher up the league, but if I'm being brutally honest, the games that we have won compared to where we were, the draws that we've had, the home form how has improved, getting some wins on the road, our away form has cost us big time. So we've got to try and work on that. But could I have asked for much more? In truth, probably not. No. They haven't given up. They've kept going. Probably only Morecambe and Colchester that have really stuck with me as things I don't like. So, but the rest of it, we could have won an awful lot more games, couldn't we? It was really close. should have seen it out against Port Vale, but if you look where Port Vale are now, it's understandable. We lost to Bradford away 1-0 in when we just started to pick up. Everybody said that was terrible, but if you look where they are now, maybe it's not losing 1-0, not getting a shot at goal. That old fellow hammered me, and that upset me because I had young kids around me at that time. Jackson heard it, what he's saying, that ain't good enough, and do you know what I mean? Some of it, they only had 2 shots, so it's all about getting things in perspective, really. But anything can happen, but I know what I'm looking for, I know what I want, and I know where I'm going with this, and I can't wait for some input from all my other footballing staff and the people I know very well, who I've already told the positions that I'm looking for, and see if I put it all together and see what I've got. If they haven't found anybody, then someone might benefit who's been here, you know, because of where we are in the league. And if you add that up, and if you change it, take away the first 19 games, and if you look at what we might have been able to do if this group was allowed to carry on. But can I afford this group? The truth is no. We can't pay this much next year because I've got to pay for the pitch, which is vital. Nearly 200 grand, 160 grand there, normal maintenance, nearly £200,000. So, but we've got to do it for the long-term benefit of the club. And what I want to do is what's right for the long-term benefit of the club, not the short-term personal gain for me. It's about the long-term benefit of a wonderful football club that I believe will have a wonderful future.
So have you kind of won that battle essentially, and is the pitch going to get redone as
Yeah.
you wish?
Yeah, it's been ordered, it's been paid for, done, bang, well, I think, last couple of days, so. Whew. Step one.
I was going to say, you talked about the kind of sort of trade-off there. Is that quite difficult for you to make when you think about the, you know, perhaps what extra you could bring into the squad with that money instead?
Nope. It's about what's right. And having a sewn plastic into our pitch is absolutely vital for its preservation, for its development, for the football I want to play. And a club as big as ours needs that. We're behind the times. So we've got to have that. And if we haven't got it, you can do it now.
When you're sort of at this stage...
You look shocked.
No?
Is that not a good answer? Because that's the answer I should be giving. Do you get what I mean? And if that means I have to go slightly younger, bring another younger fella up and give him a chance, maybe one of the first years, if the second years I haven't done it, and I'll try and loan them out, and, you know, maybe that's what I'll do. So it's a good time to be a young player at our football club, I think, because you might get a chance.
In this sort of situation you are where you're sitting in the middle, does it make a difference? Does it bring a difference of energy facing the team on top?
I'd rather be much closer to the top than sitting in the middle. But in brutal honesty, to be safe with 5 games still to go is a major relief. Major relief. I won't have to worry about people's mentality. I won't have to worry about, oh, what if we lose that game? What if we don't do that? All of those concerns are gone, and it's now positively, what are we going to do next? You know? And then it's tiny little steps. Don't take big steps because you fall over. Take tiny little ones so you're still solid, you're still balanced, and you keep moving. So I'll be trying to sort those things out if I can, as I go. And I can't ever control it. This is the whole beautiful thing about it. We all try and control life. You can. Things happen. You just got to deal with those things and try and be positive. And if you are positive, you might have a positive outcome. Because most things, a lot of the time, are negative. We all have those things. So you get a negative, you hit that with a negative, you've only got one outcome. If you hit a negative with a positive and you embrace it and you do something about it and you try and change that, you have a chance to make that negative a positive. So that's what I'll be looking at. There will be never any downs. You know, there won't. What we're trying to do is move forward. How do we do that? What's the best way for us to do that? And the club's already, someone asked me last night, oh, you're going to do under 21s? Well, let's work out how much that's going to cost us, look how we're going to find that, and really what's more important, getting the first team in a higher league, or trying to get the youth team to get a bigger youth set up so that we can make them long term for the future. Do you know what I mean? It's all about which way that you believe is the right way. So we'll try and make a means for that. Do you know what I mean? So that's the excitement of the job. And I'm trying to make it sound so people understand where I am. This is the challenge. It's a wonderful challenge to say, right, hang on a minute. And what will I draw on? I draw on everything that I've ever done in the past, every club that I've ever been at, every board meeting I was ever at Bristol Rovers when I was 33 to 37. I was in every single board meeting, so I know exactly how clubs should be done and what the mistakes you can make. And at Plymouth, I was in every single board meeting, so I know how clubs are run. So I can really truly help the chairman, and I can really truly help everybody else in their positions in this football club, because I've not just been a coach or a manager or a player, I've been more than that. So that's the joy of having all of that knowledge and now being able to use it. I can't explain it. It feels such an honour, it feels such a, and I know it's a challenge, and I know next year we will be totally and utterly challenged because of the excitement that we've got of the change, and you have to keep earning that, right? Just because we did it this season doesn't mean we're going to knit together and do that next season, because I won't have the same group. But hopefully we'll have the foundations of that group and we'll be able to add to it and build to it. Do you know what I mean? So, and then it's about decisions. Hopefully I'll get them right. 75% of the time you got to get them right. 25%. If it's the other way around, I'm sorry, I'm going to be a failure here. And I won't be here that long, will I? So I've got to try and prove that I can do that.
Do ask you to side checking. I'm not necessarily reading into things that are not there.
Whoa, look at you go.
So
shame on you, young man.
I know.
Anybody think you're a reporter?
We'd like to double check. From what you've kind of said there, that kind of implies that you will be focused sort of more on bringing through youth than this season. And does that come at some expense of a promotion challenge, I suppose?
Wow, that's some sort of question, isn't it? You're some sort of you're some sort of trick meister there. No, I don't think it does. If you ask Sir Alex Ferguson about young players in 1992, I think he said, I'm going to bring them up. I believe they're good enough, but he didn't expect to win the league, did he? So, but they did. So, I won't be throwing people left, right and centre. I think I will put people in who I think could and have got a very, very good chance of doing very well. So yes, there will be an opportunity for them, as there is for anybody. It might be someone who's not in the club at the moment. It might be someone who is in the club at the moment. It might be someone who's in the youth team at the moment. For me, all of those things I will be looking at to give the best economical chance of the club to grow as quickly as I can, because that's what we need. If we stand still, we're nothing. That's no good. We have to look like we're progressing. And when you look like you're progressing, other people will then want to join you. And I think we've done enough and the calls that I'm getting from agents right now is an indicator to me that I could have a very busy summer. Unfortunately, I won't have the funds that I would truly want, but I'm very excited about what our team might look like next year. Whether that will be with a balance of, because I always do it in a balance. I have 4 at that age, 8 at that age, 8 at that age, 4 at that age, and hopefully if I get those very close to those ages, I can pick experience no matter whether one or two of them are out, the four on the end are experienced players. So if I can pick two of them every time, I won't put four in the same team because we probably won't be able to run enough. I won't put four of the young ones in because we won't be experienced enough. But when you have a mix of the eight and then four experienced ones, two will be on the bench, two will be there if they're not injured. With experienced ones, sometimes they get injured, so I understand that. But I can always have the right balance of wonderful fearlessness and experience of the same thing. Do you get what I mean? So it's all about looking around and knowing people know what they're doing, to help the ones who don't know what they're doing with that enthusiasm and that skill level and that. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I do what I do, and I try and stick to those rules. Occasionally you won't get that balance right because of what the club's already got. I might not be able to get that balance right this year, but I'll be working towards that, and it makes it simpler for me and simpler for my scouting network to actually find me what I'm looking for. You go to a car sales group who are massive, you try and pick one car for yourself. Oh my God. But if you can tell them, I want this, I want that, I need this, I need that, that narrows it down, doesn't it? So hopefully I'll be able to narrow down really accurately what we might need to be successful. And for me, in that top part of the division that either gets promoted or gets a chance to get promoted is the minimum that I want to aim at. And that's a huge statement, but that's where I'm trying to get. I don't talk about promotion. It's all about being at the top of the levels and trying to give yourself a chance to be one of the three teams that is successful, and there's only three teams which are successful. Seriously, there's only three teams that are successful. The rest have failed because everybody should be trying to climb the leagues, shouldn't they? So, on top of the fact that I came in with not enough games, on top of the fact that someone else has already selected half a squad, and financially that's over half a squad for next year, I've still got to try and make the best of it. And I'm still thinking about how to do that, because they all still have another chance and another chance and another chance to actually, do you know what I mean? And it's about consistency, and it's about attitude. And if any young people are listening, whatever you're going to go into, it's all about your attitude. You will only be successful if you have the right attitude to deal with things that come along. You don't whinge, you don't moan, you just take the positives and you look at yourself and you go again. And that's what I'm after building here. It's the secret to success. Every successful person deals with adversity in a positive way and turns it around. They're not lucky. They work through it. They do get downs, and they just work through it. So that's what I'm looking for. Surround myself with people who are like that, with that like-minded attitude.
Cool. Well, thank you very much.
I hope that's answered your question in a rather long-winded fashion.
You mentioned the scouting network that you were looking to put in place, and also the pitch was phase one. So would you look at that as being sort of phase two, the next thing you're looking to implement?
That'll be for as the season starts next year. We've already got enough information that we need on our summer signings. Have some meetings about that. Then it'll be the shenanigans with agents. Really don't enjoy that. Toing and throwing and bobbing and weaving and all that. I'd rather just smack them on the chin, take that or go. You know, it's ridiculous. I've already had, he's not going to come in on trial. I went, well, he won't be coming here at all then. You expect me to not see someone and see how they can run, right? Just go on his reputation, go jog on me. So I've had all of these things have started already, which is nice because they obviously value us at a certain level now. So, but that will be put in place as we go along, you know, and we're waiting for the 5 games to see what happens, and you know that's the facts. And I'm not lying to you. I'm looking at I'd love some of these to come smashing through, saying, I want to be your player next year, I want to be here. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to see that. And they've still got 5 games to do that for me, which is amazing.
How's Harrison Linzo getting on? I know he's been back running a little while ago. Is he getting any closer?
He's had a setback. Gone to see another specialist or the same bloke again, and he might need an operation, which is not good. Ups and downs, I'm afraid.
Spoken a couple of times about the importance of experience from Connor Ripley and what he's added. He said that he's not certain whether or not he'll kind of be able to stay at Swindon next season because of his family stuff. So would you be looking to replace that experience in the goalkeeping department in the summer if you can't keep him?
Well, both of my goalies are out of contract, aren't they? So I certainly got to do something. You definitely need at least one goalie and probably 2. But I think we got Redmond, Evans for next year. So yes, I would be looking at that, and yes, I would be trying to keep the same formula we've got at the moment. You know, and if you look at last week, that was a perfect example. Jack's reaction to Connor coming in and him losing his place has been outstanding. He's trained better than he's ever trained, probably with a bit of angst. Picturing me on a dartboard and him throwing darts at it, I don't really care. But what he did was play really well last week. Kept a clean sheet. So, was he doing that before I came? Were they managing to achieve clean sheets before I came? Right, we've had at least 3 or 4, haven't we, so far? So, I believe that's improved. I believe my goalkeeper coach is outstanding. I really do think Mildy's outstanding. And that's why he's been given a better deal. So have my other staff. Because it's all of us, as I tried to explain to everybody last night. I could do nothing without the response of my staff, and I could do nothing without the response of my team. So, yes, I do believe that's a vital ingredient, as I believe having an experience as a manager is a vital ingredient to any football club.
You won't answer this, but
why are you asking then? What a waste of time, young man.
see what we can do.
It's a good try, but
given the performance of Jack last week in working training, has he given himself as good a chance as possible to keep his place this week?
absolutely. Whether he has or whether he hasn't is down to me and what I'm choosing. And the reason he got in the first place. Oh, that's a balance. Did he get in through bad performance, or did he get in because someone was ill? And do I leave someone out if someone's been ill and they lose their place through ill, or do I put them back in? No matter what you've just done. Because I expect that to be your job anyway. And all of these conversations would have been had and it's already done, and they know, and you'll find out tomorrow. But I try and keep things really, really simple. And I expect whoever goes in to do really, really well. And if I bring them back out, I don't expect them to moan. If they do, they're likely not to be here. It's quite simple, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you don't see this club as a huge part of your future and you're going to moan about that you're not being selected, which he's not done, by the way. He's done exactly what I want. And I got every right to choose whoever I want. That's what I'm paid to do. And it's not nice at times. But what is good, I can do that off the back of 2 victories rather than 2 defeats. And not have to worry about, are we down the bottom? Because that's a much bigger problem, isn't it? The do we had last night was very nice. People were very nice. Simply because we're not in a relegation battle anymore. What a wonderful, joyful thing to not be in. And if we get any sort of points from now until the end of the season, we've actually bettered last year. Which would be the first time in what? 3 years? If we can. We haven't done it yet, but if we can. Great try.
How do you word it in a certain way?
In case I'll switch back to the other side, which
Yeah.
is that go back to the pitch. I think it's about 7 or 8% roughly of your budget for that pitch to be done. Your squad is quite big. Is a part of it trimming it? I mean, you've spoken about how large it's been at times this year.
Yeah, part of it, there's people in it who aren't going to play. They're out with other clubs. Do you know what I mean? So why have we got 32? I don't, you know, do you know what I mean? I don't know what we were trying to build to and how to do that and how they were judged to still be here. And, you know, so what we've got to try and do is give a format for the club to move forward. And if you are going to keep younger players that you're going to wait for to develop that aren't in the first team at the moment, how are you going to do that? So, you know, our way of doing it at the minute is not viable. It's only been viable for the fact that we've sold some under-15s who've paid for all of that. So, you know, and how many times do you get to do that? And life's about understanding when you are moving forward, you know, or did we just play against the worst Man United under-18s team there's ever been? Do you get what I mean? That might have been the case, mightn't it? How do I know? I don't know. But you can't make bold judgments on the back of that. And what you can't do is leave someone with no future. Because everything we do is about, we're on about trying to make a pathway, but that's not realistic all the time. Over the last 3 months, we haven't been able to do a pathway training on a Tuesday because it literally isn't possible. So what are we going to do with these players if we're trying to develop them and we can't develop them because it's all about first team results? So it's about having that structure. And how do the best teams do it? They do it with an under-21 setup, under-23 setup, some of them, where they have a totally separate budget for that because they're in the top category. We got no chance of getting into that category. So how are we going to do it? You know, because I love young players. We've already got 2 or 3 in our team, haven't we? So, wow. And that's vital, I think. That's one part of our conveyor belt to actually do it. And we'll soon see when I'm trying to do things over the next few weeks to see if I can entice them people to stay with us because they got first team football. Right? And we'll see whether we'll have a chance to be successful in that way. If I can re-sign them and they want to do it and it's affordable and they're not asking nonsense and that their agents are in this agreement with me that I can train them as good as them and let them play and then they'll get that move and we'll soon see. And the truth is I've done it before with people, but I don't know if I can do that here. I really don't know where agents are at this day and age, because the difference between what some young kid will get playing for Chelsea, who's got potential in their under-23 setup, and he'll go till he's 23, the amount of money he'd have earned by the time he finishes there would be a lot more than a second division player will earn his whole damn career. So I don't know how it's going to work. I know what I would have wanted to do. I'd have wanted to go where I'm going to play, with someone who believes in me, to give me a chance to have a longevity of playing at as high a level as I possibly can, not earn as much as I can for a short period of time, so whether I don't make it or not doesn't matter. And that's where we are right now in football. That's why academies are failing all around the place. How many do they keep? How many do they give? How many of those actually make it? And how many of them are thrown away, cast away when they're 19, 20, right? And how many are going to be thrown away from those academies right now, this summer? It's scary. Tony Pulis has done a whole thing about, is it working? No, it isn't. And what are they going to do about it?
So in your conversations with, we're talking people like Botan and Joel.
Yeah, well, there's not...
What are the conversations that you have with them? Like, how do you...
I'm not doing that yet. I'm meeting Botan's family tomorrow before the game. You know, I've told his agent what I expect to do. We can still take him on his youth policy for not this year, next year as well. But I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to talk about it, trying to tell him where I see him and why I see him like that, and what I believe I can do for him. And I personally think it's the best choice there's ever going to be. But I don't know yet, because I'm not able to stop any of that happening because of the way the rules are. And the way the rules are, a certain amount of money, it'd be cheaper for one of these clubs to take him now than if he does well in our first team. But I don't really care about the money. It's not about that. It's about the boy. And it's about what I'm trying to build here and what I believe we can do, and being part of a promotion chasing side in the second division. If he's successful and he gets goals, and what's he then going to, you know, and you only got to look at Jude Bellingham when his family have chose the route that they took. Can you argue with it? He's gone to slightly lesser clubs, he stayed with that, he then went to Germany to learn that, and now what? Wow, he had the pick of the whole world. Well done, son. Well done, you know, but what I want to be is a part of their future. And I can't wait to have a chance to tell them that. So, but who knows which way it's going to go.
And you mentioned him being a boy, he is still a boy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He can't change. He can't change in our dressing room. He can. He's got to go and change somewhere else. So did Owen Boyd last week. So, you know, this is how football's changed. You know, senior pros would have been clipping them around the ear if they spoke out of turn. They'd have been picking them up by the, putting them against the wall if they didn't work hard. You know, all of these things have changed, probably for the better. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm very simple. I only want people who want to be here. I only want to deal with people. I've had experience of that. Should have sold Charlie Adam when we should have done. And that was in the January, not leave him till the end of the season, because he went to that club anyway. And the rest of my lads wanted to kill him. We missed out by 1 point. And you got your big move, Charlie. It was horrible, but it was nowhere near his fault. Right? What you have to do is get your... Everybody wants to be with you, not somebody wants to leave. And then that's the best... That's the best thing any football club can ever do. You should not have a group. And the new rules kill you because you've got so many people that you don't want, and they're all trapped in. You can't loan them out at certain times. No one wants to be sat there and not used. And it's just all clogged up. It's horrible. So I need to sit down with these young gentlemen, talk about it. In my eyes, they're a fantastic part of our future. I don't know how they're thinking. And this is the gospel truth. I don't know yet, but I know what I'm trying to do from my experience of seeing what I believe they can do. And it's only because I've seen it out there. I've seen how they train. I've seen their attitude. I've seen that's what life's all about. You know, they haven't done it yet, and I won't. And I'll be keeping their feet fully on the ground because they haven't done it yet. But I believe they might have a chance to do it, and I believe we're the right place to be for them to do that, because they'll get great progression if they listen to me.
And the last one, and a couple of the other injured players, Joel and Ryan Delaney. Is this still sort of precautionary? You don't want to get people involved because it might impact pre-season?
No, it's not that. Ryan started training, but you know, the injury that he was feeling, was worried about, is a injury that can easily progress to a tear. So the last thing we want is that to happen for him, you know. So it might just be a niggle, a hamstring, a thigh. It might just be a niggle, but we got to make sure that don't happen. That would be disastrous after last pre-season for someone like Ryan.
And
Joel is exactly the same. Him and Harrison have a very similar problem in the same area, and it's very tricky. You're talking about an operation to cut some tendon to release the pressure on that, and then the bone won't be so sore as it is. And oh wow, it's all above my pay grade. But I know I've had Gilmore's groin operation, and before I had him, I could hardly move. Literally felt like I had someone run into a javelin, someone had thrown, and it's stuck right in my groin, and I can hardly move. And to try and get out of bed on a morning, bring your leg up, oh, it was absolute agony. That's how they knew it was that. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. That used to finish people years ago. But Mr. Gilmore found a way of sewing it all up, your inguinal ring, and oh, wow, horrendous. I'm even going ice cold now at the thought of his test to see if I had the problem. Honestly.
So is Joel in the same situation?
Joel's got a very...
Needing an operation as well?
Joel might not need an operation. Joel might just rest a little bit. Joel has not had the report that Harrison has had. So Harrison's in a worse state than Joel. But Joel felt it. And again, this is experience. He's not old enough yet to say, actually, that's all right, or actually, no, that's... So we got to be very careful with the same principle, you know. We don't want to lose him if I could play someone else, because we are actually safe. So, do you know what I mean? If he was fit, I'd probably play him. If he isn't, then, ooh, if there's a problem, I probably won't. Do you get what I mean? So, that's where I am. But that's not undermining anyone else, because if you're getting in my team, you've done what I wanted in the week. So let's just get back to that, you know. It's great to have so many players that I'm actually, wow, well done, you're playing well. So, you know, can't argue with that. They're playing well. Not in Morecambe, not in Colchester, but they played well almost every other game at patches at times. So thankful for that at least.
Thank you.
Very good questions, chaps.